Good afternoon. I'm going to call the meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commission to order. And we now have all 5 of our commissioners, 1 online and 4 in body. And the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and it will be led by County Manager Jennifer Davidson.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. All right, the first order of business is public comment. And okay, I'm going to briefly read the instructions because I don't think that's going to be a problem today. You'll be given 3 minutes, and the content has to be germane to the things that the board can do something about, because we don't need to talk national politics or the northern or southern borders, because we don't have a lot of control over that. So having paraphrased and skipping like a flat rock, I will now open for public comment, and should the need arise, I will interrupt you, but I hope that doesn't happen. So public comment is now open.
Hello, my name is Greg Rolson. I'm a resident of Minden, and I am here to once again talk about the proposed cell towers that the fire department wants to place at their stations 6 and 14. We fully realize that this may or may not come before this commission, but we strongly believe that providing education to you guys is key. So the East Fork Fire Protection Board approved a proposal to install an 80-foot cell towers located at stations 6 and 14 in January of '24. What was stunning to us is this board based their decision only on using public safety information presented by Epic Wireless, a Verizon services provider. No independent professional studies were sought or investigated by this board on public safety, laws governing cell towers, and negative human health effects from non-ionizing radiation. Equally disturbing is this information was made available by a letter sent to all key county representatives, including the fire board members, by the Genoa town back in December of 2023. We believe this proposal may be violating local ordinances, the county's master plan, state NRS statutes on telecommunication, and federal laws. The East Fork Fire Board, at the very least, should have questioned the National Environmental Protection Act, NEPA. An environmental assessment is required when a cell tower will be placed in a flood area. Station 14 sits in a floodplain, therefore requiring an environmental assessment outlined by NEPA. After reviewing public records, no review exists. And also, just as of this year, in May of 2024, NEPA revised their guidelines that said that Verizon and East Fork cannot omit this requirement by suggesting a categorical exclusion. Minden has at least 24 National Historic Sites to its town. Although cell companies may bypass this process by entering into a memorandum of understanding, no such agreement as part of this proposal based on the public records was submitted. Lastly, you must know that our children are very vulnerable and will be harmed from these towers' location because the bulk of the tower's power density radiation emittance is at a range of 98 to 229 feet. Allie's daycare and the dance studio are within that range. They will be harmed. Is that me or is that? Lastly, the information that we present is strongly based on credible, verifiable, evidence-based research. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comment?
Hi, my name is Susan Rolson. I am a registered nurse, and I've been a nurse for 45 years, and I cannot believe this tower is going close to children in neighborhoods. Were you aware that in 2021, the U.S. Court of Appeals had a landmark case against the FCC where it stated the FCC failed to consider the adverse health effects of RF radio frequency and radiation on the biological effects to people, and that's the cellular. They only did a study 28 years ago on the thermal effects. There's 2 effects from a tower, and they ignored that one. The study only provided an outdated 28-year-old computer model study for only a 30-minute exposure to humans. No human studies have been done. This is a critical legal concern that the FCC has only addressed the thermal effects and not the biological. To date, they have not fulfilled the judgment that's against them. They continue to say and use old studies saying that their studies are that RF and radiation is safe. It is not. There's multiple studies. There's 11,000 papers now that the U.S. Court of Appeals has of studies that have been done stating that they are not safe. Also, this is so important, you guys, they have never, ever done a study on children. Nobody has. We have no idea the dangers of this for children. Did you know that the New Hampshire did a landmark study. They took 1 full year, and this is their new bill, HB 1644, that requires now telecommunication towers be placed at least 1,640 feet away, daycare 225, from residents, daycare, schools, and hospitals due to the human health effects. This was an intense year-long study that involved 10 experts in the field of physics, epidemiology, toxicology, and public safety. Their conclusion was wireless radiation poses a significant threat to human health and the environment. There was a German study done stating that just being 1,300 feet away, they had 3 times the cancer. And an Israel study, too. Same thing. Our residents and children will be exposed 24/7, and we cannot turn it off. Real quick, I have been in touch with Susan Foster, who works with an attorney and engineer, and I reached out to her after that January meeting and said, Verizon says it's safe that the firemen can sit at the top of the tower. And she said to me, I quote in an email, "Do you have access to good science?" Of course Verizon is lying. They've been doing this for 3 decades. Let them sit at the top of the towers. Who's their expert? She named 2 people. She says, ask to see the science that has been presented. Please, if it's digital, you can send it to me. Look up Susan Foster, you'll see that how important she is to the landmark cases they have been fighting with cell towers all over the United States. Thank you.
Casey Rogers for the record. I'm here also speaking on cell towers, 14 and 6 stations for the East Fork Fire. I'm completely opposed, so I'm sharing that with you. I wanted to kind of explain some things that I have found, that these telecommunication companies are trying to put towers on fire stations and schools because they're an easy money grab, because they need money. And so that's where they try to head first. And they also don't provide the science, the true science that the community needs to be aware of what's actually happening out there. We know that they haven't complied with the FCC lawsuit in 2021. It's been 3 years. They need to comply with that, and they still haven't. But I'm here to ask you to also do your due diligence in researching this information. We've come to find out that the leases that they try to put on these school districts and fire stations and things like that are up to 5 years, but when you get through the legalese, it's up to 35 years. And they can add to and change and modify them as they see fit. And it's all in the hands of the telecommunications company and not your town and not you guys. It ends up being in their power. So that's something to be aware of, because by the time these kids are done and grown and out of school, that all these kids going through K through 12, these kids have been sitting there 24/7 under it, not just in their homes, but also in the school systems. And by the time they are 40 and 50 years old, their lease will be up on those towers. So there's no change in that. So it's important that we look at this now and not later. because we already know that they're harmful. They also cause fires. However, there is an HB 1644 in New Hampshire that she mentioned prior, and I'm here to ask that you guys put an ordinance in this county not allowing cell towers anymore here, or at least at a safe distance if you guys are going to put them here. So maybe you can do an emergency meeting, put in an ordinance, and stop them from coming in. And use the example of HB 1644. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further?
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Hartman, and I have been a resident of Minden for 25 years. I have worked with children for 40 years, and my dream was to start a Montessori school. 15 years ago, my dream came true, and I was able to open the doors of Ali and Friends Daycare and Preschool in a beautiful building that was specifically built to be a daycare. We have little toilets, little sinks, a beautiful backyard just built to be a daycare. There's nothing else like that here in Minden. 105 children between the ages of 1 and 6 years old attend our school, and we have more than 200 families in our wait list. A few weeks ago, I found out that a cell tower was being built 225 feet away from our school. I became extremely concerned, and to say that the parents of the children that attend our school and the 21 teachers that work at Ali and Friends were devastated is an understatement. All parents and teachers have signed a petition to stop the construction of this tower. Quite a few of them have mentioned that they would definitely remove their children from our school if the tower is built. Will this tower be the end of our business? Daycares are needed now more than ever. There are not enough schools for little ones, and parents are desperate to find care. What are parents going to do if our school has to close? After learning about all the dangers of having a cell tower right next to our school, I would like to bring to you my concerns. Fires are not uncommon around these types of towers. If there's a fire, will I have enough time to bring 105 children between the ages of 12 months and 6 years old to a safe place when the fire and all the pollutants will be so close to us? How will the tower affect our kids' brains development and their health? And what will happen to all my children when they will be exposed to all those frequencies for 12 hours a day? We're open 12 hours a day. Most of the children are there most of the day, so they will be exposed to those frequencies all day. Are you going to allow that 105 children of our community to be used as guinea pigs and 10 years later do a study to see how they were affected? I'm asking you to please put the well-being of our children and teachers first. Their health and lives are in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment?
Good afternoon. My name's Patrina French. I've been a Minden resident for 40 years, and we have a property on Zaldea and out in Johnson Lane. Both properties are going to be affected by this 5G tower. So we're speaking for the children and for the public. Children in Public Safety, Ecolog Institute of America has over 9,000 members that United States of Appeal conduct research, teach, and use ecological science to address environmental issues. ESA is a trusted source of scientific knowledge that serves as a foundation for understanding and action. The recommendations for cell towers were replete with warnings to bring the levels of radiation down, particularly in vulnerable locations, residential, school, nurseries, playgrounds, hospitals, and all the other places at which humans are present for longer than 4 hours. Verizon and East Fork Fire are not adhering to what the Ecolog Institute states is safe for the residents and children near these towers. Children under 12 years of age also have higher body water content than adults, which allow them to absorb considerably more radiation. Additionally, a child's bone marrow absorbs 10 times more wireless frequency radiation than an adult. Children's skulls are thinner than adult skulls, which means more radiation is able to penetrate their protective barrier, Moskowitz study. The California Department of Public Health Environmental Health Investigations branch concurred. Findings, EMFs can pass deeper into a child's brain than an adult. The brain is still developing through the teen years, which makes children and teens much more sensitive to EMF exposure. Los Angeles and San Diego Fire Department have been fighting to restrict cell towers from being built on fire department property due to the health effects. Susan Foster attorney Scott McCullough and Tony Simmons, PE electrical engineer, have helped prepare legislation to prevent cell towers from being built on fire department properties and have designed rules for setbacks and distance to protect health and safety of firefighters in nearby homes, schools, and neighborhoods. Our group is just here, it's small. We're pleading with you for our children and the town. Big business coming in, big money, something for all of you to just look at. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? Seeing none. I have one. I've never done this before. And it just went away. I hate it when that happens. Computers are so much fun when they work. Do you have that hard copy? Because this thing doesn't want to let me into my own doggone phone. I love my county phone.
Is that what you're looking for?
And it is. This is, I'm going to paraphrase a email that I received today, and it is, as far as I'm concerned, outstanding news. This is from Jennifer Davidson to me, to all of us. I just received word that Senators Cortez, Mastow, and Rosen announced that $24,026,333 in funding from the bipartisan infrastructure law to extend the popular Tahoe East Shore Trail. This grant award is part of the U.S. Department of Transportation's Rebuilding America Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. The grant program will fund vital road safety and trail improvements along State Route 28 on Tahoe's eastern shore. And it goes on from there, but this is something that has been worked on for a very long time. And I am thrilled to say that we are finally getting funding. And this will extend the trail all the way from Incline Village to Spooner Summit and keep the bicycles and pedestrians off of Highway 28 and avail parking so that people don't have to risk their lives to park along the roadway. And this is an amazing thing that's been in the works for a very long time. And thank you for putting up with me. And seeing no more public comment, I will close public comment and move on to the agenda. And we need approval of the agenda.
move approval of the agenda.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, thank you. It passes unanimously. And now on to the administrative agenda. For possible action, discussion on the adoption of Resolution 2024R-069, levying the tax rates for all political entities within Douglas County for fiscal year 2024 through 25 pursuant to NRS 361.460. Ms. Bergens.
Thank you, Chairman Rice and Commissioners. We are at the end of our fiscal year. It will conclude business-wise on Friday, though it really concludes on Sunday with the new fiscal year beginning Monday, July 1st. So this agenda item is to levy the tax rates. This is an annual resolution that includes all of the tax rates that are approved by the taxing entities within Douglas County. When they are approved by their budgets. Each entity approves the tax rate that they are going to use for the upcoming year when they approve their budget. Pursuant to NRS 361.460, immediately after the Nevada Tax Commission certifies the tax rates, the Board of County Commissioners shall, by resolution, proceed to levying the tax rates. The action I am requesting of the Commissioners today is approval of Resolution 2024R-069, which allows the Treasurer's Office to collect the approved tax rates from property owners within Douglas County by sending out their property tax bills. Attached to your agenda packet is a copy of the resolution showing the tax rates for each political subdivision within Douglas County, a chart showing the increase or decrease from last fiscal year, if there is one, and a graph showing the detailed breakdown of the Douglas County tax rates. So with that, are there any questions?
Not for me. The information is very thorough. And I think that some people would be surprised by the number of taxing authorities we have in Douglas County.
And add to that each one has an elected board and we get to run the election for them too.
Is there any questions or comments from the board? Commissioner, go ahead.
Thank you. So the tax, I just want to understand the process here. The State Tax Commission, as this says, met formally this morning and adopted these. And what the purpose of our resolution is to allow you to levy the taxes as of July 1. Is that the process, correct?
That is the process. So each board, each district board, when they finalize their budget, finalizes the tax rate that they plan to charge the people within their district every year. And then they send it to my office and we collect all that information, compile it to, and then send it forward to the state. And then the state, yes, on June 26th every year, the state gets together and approves statewide, each county, their tax rate for each entity within their county. And then after they approve in the morning, we get together on the afternoon and ask you guys to give me the ability and my office the ability to use these tax rates on the county property tax bill. You're not approving the rates. The rates have been approved by each entity. You're just basically giving me the authority under Douglas County to send the Douglas County tax bills with these included as the tax rates.
It just, the process seems a little backwards to me, that's all. In that the state has already approved this and now we're, if you follow that logic?
So the state doesn't really approve more than, it's more of an oversight from the state, making sure that no entity is exceeding the cap that NRS allows for. So there is a cap of 3.6% for each entity. So when you take, Douglas County's tax rate and you add in all of these different entities, and you can live in more than one entity. So there are people that are in East Fork Fire, but also in mosquito abatement and also in the town of Minden. So they're going to have multiple of these rates. And then they're also going to have the Douglas County rate, and those added together cannot exceed that 3.66%.
Right, so those entities that are asking for an increase are below the 3.66 already. Entities that are at the 3.66 could not ask for an increase.
Correct, which is one of the reasons why Douglas County, as an entity, we are not able to increase ours. And the final page in your packet shows the breakdown of Douglas County. We are at 1.168%. And the reason that we cannot increase that is because we have places within our county where if you add the county's taxing entity plus the other entities that they are in, that combined would exceed the 3.66. So we would have to ask an entity to lower theirs in order for us to raise ours.
Thank you for the explanation.
Any further questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Tarkanian, you're not doing anything except shaking your head? No. Okay, got it.
Sure, and listening to Mark talk.
Okay. All right, anything else from the board? Seeing nothing else, I will open this to public comment. It is an action item. I see no public comment. In that case, I will bring it back to the board for a motion. Not everybody at once. Wrong motion.
Yeah, that's not a debatable move, so I hope it wasn't serious. Anyways, so I will move for the adoption of Resolution 2024-R-069, levying the tax rates for all political entities within Douglas County for fiscal year 2024-25 as presented.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. It has been moved and seconded. Any further comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll bring it to the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes unanimously. And with that, we will go to closing public comment. Do we have any closing public comment?
I don't have closing public comment, but I do have a request for a point of personal privilege.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to recognize my sister, Linda Giverson from Grapevine, Texas, visiting our beautiful county.
Welcome. Is that the extent of your personal? We're not
That's
gonna-
it. That's all.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I've known you so well.
I'm Amy. It's
I know,
fine.
I know.
I do
Go
go
ahead.
by Amy. I just want to recognize one of my employees, Regina, who works up at the State Line office, at the Tahoe General Services office. She just celebrated 25 years with Douglas County, and though she doesn't want to be recognized by appearing, we did celebrate her this morning in a team meeting, and I just want to call out her dedication. She is counting down to retirement, but we have a little over 5 years left with her, which I'm very excited about. But anyone that goes up to Tahoe, especially for DMV services, knows Regina, and she is a true asset to Douglas County. So I just wanted to mention that.
I can say that in all the years that I worked up there doing the odd jobs that I used to do with the constable's office and the sheriff department, she has always been a delight. Always ready to please. And I congratulate her greatly and I wish that she'd have come down here so we could give her her pin and her plaque.
I guarantee she's blushing right now and she's not here. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any more public comment? Seeing none, you now may make your motion, sir.
I move that we adjourn.
And all those in favor? I don't think we need a second to adjourn. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.